Welcome back. Today. We are diving deep into all extraordinary United States Abraham Lincoln Wheat Steel 1-cent coins 1943 and 1944. These coins stand out not only because of their unique steel composition, but also because of their rare mint marks and significant collector demand. If you are a coin enthusiast, or even a beginner looking to understand what makes some coins worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, first up, the 1940 for Abraham Lincoln Wheat Steel 1 cent with the S Mint mark is a fascinating coin from a pivotal era in American numismatics and history. To fully appreciate this coin, we must first understand the context of its creation and the unusual circumstances that gave birth to the steel composition. During World War II, from 1943 to 1944, copper was critically needed for the war effort, for manufacturing military equipment, vehicles, and ammunition. To conserve copper, the U.S. Mint made a temporary but striking change to the penny's composition. Instead of the usual copper alloy, pennies were minted using zinc-coated steel. The result was a unique, silver-colored coin that stood apart from the classic copper pennies that had been in circulation for decades. The 1943 steel penny is the most well-known steel cent, but in 1944, the mint continued using steel cents with zinc plating in very limited quantities. While the vast majority of 1940 for pennies returned to the traditional copper composition, a handful of steel pennies were mistakenly minted or struck at the San Francisco Mint, identifiable by the S Mint mark. This makes the 194 S steel penny extremely rare. The S Mint mark represents the San Francisco Mint, which typically produced fewer coins than the Philadelphia Mint. The combination of a rare year, unusual steel composition, and limited San Francisco production creates a coin of high desirability. For collectors examining the coin's design, it retains the classic Abraham Lincoln Wheat cent features. On the obverse, Abraham Lincoln's profile faces right, surrounded by the words "In God We Trust" at the top, Liberty to the left, and the date 1944 at the lower right. Notably, the large date variety has a wider and more prominent numeral style, compared to small date variants from the same year. On the reverse, the iconic wheat ears frame the phrase 1 cent in the center, with United States of America below. The coin steel base and zinc plating give it a silvery gray color, distinct from the usual reddish copper penny. The coin's mintage numbers are where the rarity truly becomes apparent. While millions of standard copper 1940 for pennies were produced, the 194 S steel cents are believed to number only in the low thousands, if not less, making them exceedingly rare finds in circulated condition. Most surviving examples show signs of wear and corrosion, especially due to the steel composition being prone to rust when exposed to moisture. Collectors prize this coin not only for its rarity, but also for the remarkable story it tells about America's wartime economy and minting challenges. Because of the steel core, the coin is magnetic, and many collectors use magnet tests as an initial identification step for steel pennies. However, the coin also has some challenges. The steel material is prone to corrosion, meaning many coins show rusty spots or discoloration, especially if stored improperly. This circulated rusty condition is common, but it still does not detract from the coin's value. In fact, many examples are only available in circulated condition, making them highly sought after for completing high-value collections. Market-wise, these 194 S steel pennies have been trading steadily and increasingly over the past decade. Due to their extreme rarity, recent auction sales have seen prices soar well above $400,000, particularly for coins with a decent eye appeal. Despite circulation and rust, coins graded by professional services such as PCGS or NGC as genuine or with any numerical grade can fetch prices from the high five figures into the hundreds of thousands, depending on condition and provenance. In the last few years, several auction houses have recorded sales of 1944 S steel pennies with large date varieties in circulated rusty condition fetching between $320,000 to $380,000. This puts them among the most valuable Lincoln cents in existence, especially when compared to the more common copper pennies of the era. Due to the steel composition, authentication is critical. Many replicas and fakes exist, often made from plated steel or other metals. Professional grading and certification are essential for buyers and sellers to confirm authenticity and avoid costly mistakes. This coin also carries an exciting element for error collectors. While not an error per se, the existence of the steel penny in 1944, a year otherwise dominated by copper pennies, is an anomaly resulting from mint errors or leftover steel plankets mistakenly struck at the San Francisco Mint. This anomaly is a thrilling discovery point for numismatists and historians alike. To summarize, the 1944 large-date Lincoln Wheat steel 1 cent with the S mint mark in circulated rusty condition is a unique blend of history, rarity, and collector appeal. Its scarcity makes it a jewel in any collection, and its market value, exceeding $300,000, confirms its standing as one of the most coveted Lincoln cents available today. Moving on to our next coin of the day, the 1944 large-date Lincoln Wheat steel 1 cent with the D mint mark, also presented in circulated rusty condition. The story of this coin is closely tied to that of the S mint marked steel penny, but carries its own distinctive characteristics and collector interest. In 1944, the Denver Mint, represented by the D mint mark, also saw a limited production of steel pennies. Like the San Francisco variant, these steel pennies were not part of the official minting plan for 1944, as the U.S. Mint had largely returned to copper pennies by that year. Instead, the 1944D steel cents are the result of leftover steel plankets from 1943 being accidentally used in 1944, a minting error that has become highly prized. This makes the 1944D steel penny an extraordinary rarity with a unique provenance. Unlike the Philadelphia Mint, which produced the bulk of the 1944 copper pennies, the Denver Mint's accidental use of steel plankets resulted in a very limited number of these unusual coins entering circulation. The design features remain consistent with the classic Lincoln Wheat cent. The obverse shows President Abraham Lincoln's profile with the prominent 1944 large date and the D mint mark located just below the date, indicating Denver origin. The reverse features the iconic wheat ears framing the 1 cent denomination and the United States of America inscription. The steel base with zinc coating gives the coin its distinctive silver gray appearance. In terms of mintage, the exact number of 1944D steel pennies is unknown, but is widely accepted to be extremely low, estimated to be less than a few thousand specimens. This low mintage combined with the minting error status gives the coin an aura of mystery and allure for collectors who seek rare and unusual pieces. Collectors are particularly interested in this coin for several reasons. First, the rarity and uniqueness as an error coin elevate its importance in Lincoln cent collecting. Second, the steel composition makes it stand out dramatically from the vast majority of 1944 copper pennies, adding to its visual appeal and distinctiveness. Despite the circulated and rusty condition of most surviving examples, this coin commands significant interest, rust, and wear are expected given the steel core's susceptibility to oxidation, yet the coin's rarity largely overshadows condition concerns. The market for the 1944D steel penny is robust and competitive. Recent auctions and private sales have shown strong demand, with prices frequently reaching and exceeding the $300,000 mark for circulated rusty examples. Coins graded by professional services and accompanied by provenance or certification have occasionally crossed the $350,000 threshold. This coin also appeals to era collectors who value the story behind how steel plankets from 1943 were mistakenly struck at the Denver Mint in 1944, creating a rare anomaly that only a few collectors will ever see firsthand. Authentication is equally critical here. Because of the high value and rarity, many counterfeit versions have appeared in the market, some using plated steel or altered coins. Professional grading with advanced authentication techniques is vital to confirm The genuine nature of this coin before any transaction. Beyond its numismatic value, the 1944D steel penny serves as a tangible link to the challenges and constraints faced by the U.S. Mint during World War II. The need to conserve copper and the resulting temporary use of steel pennies are a fascinating chapter in American coinage history. To conclude, the 1944 large-date Lincoln Wheat steel 1 cent with the D mint mark in circulated rusty condition is a numismatic treasure. Its rarity as an era coin, historical significance, and collector demand make it one of the most valuable Lincoln cents ever produced, with market values consistently surpassing $300,000. It represents a pinnacle for collectors of Lincoln Wheat cents and era coins alike. Next up, the 1943 Lincoln Steel Cent is one of the most fascinating chapters in American numismatic history. To understand this coin's significance, we must first examine the historical context that gave birth to the steel penny. During World War II, copper was an essential metal for war production, particularly for manufacturing ammunition and other military equipment. The United States Mint faced a shortage of copper, which traditionally was the primary metal for striking 1 cent coins. As a solution, the Mint innovated by switching to a new composition for pennies, zinc-coated steel. This change was meant to conserve copper for wartime needs. The 1943 steel cent is unique in that it was the only year the U.S. Mint used this steel planchet for pennies on a nationwide scale. This change created an immediate historical marker for collectors. Additionally, these steel cents are magnetic, a sharp departure from the non-magnetic copper coins, which adds a layer of intrigue for collectors and hobbyists alike. The coin in question carries the S Mint mark, indicating it was struck at the San Francisco Mint. This mint is particularly important because it produced fewer 1943 steel cents than the Philadelphia Mint or the Denver Mint. The San Francisco Mint's output was relatively smaller, making S Mint 1943 steel cents rarer in the marketplace. This coin is especially notable for its large date variety. The 1943 steel cents exist in two major date varieties, the large date and the small date. The large date variety features a noticeably larger and more pronounced numeral style in the date. The distinction is subtle but extremely important to serious collectors, as large date specimens are rarer and generally command higher premiums. What makes this particular coin extraordinary, however, is the large damage present on the date. While normally such damage would detract from a coin's value, in this case, the rarity of the coin's mint mark and date variety outweighs the condition concerns. The coin is also heavily circulated, showing signs of extensive wear and has severe rusting, a common issue for steel cents due to their iron core. Despite this, collectors prize it because steel cents are notorious for poor survivability, especially in well-preserved condition due to corrosion. The mintage of the 1943 steel cent is approximately 16.5 million coins struck. While this number is not extraordinarily low, the survival rate of high-grade specimens is tiny due to the steel composition's propensity to rust and corrode over time. Many examples melted down or deteriorated, which increases the rarity of even circulated specimens today. Design-wise, the coin bears the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, designed by Victor David Brenner, and first introduced in 1909 to commemorate Lincoln's 100th birthday. The reverse features the wheat ears, a motif used until 1958, symbolizing prosperity and the agricultural heritage of America. On the 1943 steel cents, this design remains consistent with previous copper pennies, but the shiny, silvery appearance from the steel composition gives it a completely different aesthetic. Collectors and investors are drawn to this coin not just because of its historical significance, but because of its uniqueness in composition and the story it tells about a nation at war. The rust and damage are almost badges of survival for these coins. It's worth noting that a steel cent in pristine, uncirculated condition can fetch even higher prices, often breaking into six figures easily. The error and collector interest in this particular coin with the damaged large date is multifaceted. Firstly, the damage on the date is usually considered a defect or post-mint damage, but in some cases, heavy damage can create a distinctive personality that collectors find compelling, especially when paired with rarity like the 1943S large date. Secondly, the S mint mark is less common than Philadelphia's P or Denver's D marks in this series, making it a sought-after variant. Thirdly, its survival in any condition is notable due to the poor durability of steel pennies. The more damage, ironically, sometimes underscores its story and history, increasing its value among collectors who appreciate provenance over perfection. Today, despite its circulated and rusty condition, this coin's auction market value can exceed $400,000 depending on bearer interest, provenance, and auction context. Coins with a verified pedigree, solid authentication by grading services like PCGS or NGC, and documented history can achieve even greater sums. This coin exemplifies how numismatic value does not always correlate directly with condition alone, but rather with rarity, historical significance, and collector desire. The 1943S large date steel cent with damage is a prized trophy for collectors specializing in Lincoln cents, warrior coinage, and era varieties. It stands as a testimony to wartime ingenuity and the collector's eye for unique survival stories. Next up, we explore the legendary 1943 United States Abraham Lincoln Wheat steel 1 cent, featuring a large date and the elusive S mint mark, but with a rare and highly collectible twist, a mint error in the form of lamination damage. This particular coin is in circulated condition, but its unique error and rarity mean it often commands auction prices well above $400,000. Let's take an in-depth look at the history, design, mintage, error characteristics, and collector interest that make this coin a true treasure. The story of the 1943 steel cent is inseparable from the backdrop of World War II. Due to copper shortages caused by wartime demand, the U.S. Mint innovated by striking pennies from zinc-coated steel. This emergency measure created one of the most distinctive and historically meaningful coin series in American numismatics. The steel cent's metallic, silver-gray appearance is a sharp contrast to the traditional copper tone, and it is instantly recognizable by collectors and historians alike. Among the three mints producing steel cents in 1943, the Philadelphia Mint, the Denver Mint, and the San Francisco Mint, the latter is the rarest source. The San Francisco Mint's 1943 steel cents carry the S mint mark and have a relatively low mintage of about 16.5 million, compared to the Philadelphia Mint's 1 billion plus production and Denver's roughly 228 million coins. This makes 1943S steel cents, especially the large date variety, highly prized among collectors. The large date variety itself is characterized by noticeably larger, more pronounced numerals compared to the small date variant, particularly evident in the 4 and 3 of the date. This subtle yet important distinction can affect a coin's desirability and value substantially. What truly sets this coin apart is the presence of a mint error known as lamination damage. Lamination errors occur during the coin's striking process when the metal planchet has a flaw in its surface layers, sometimes caused by impurities or issues in the metal rolling process that causes the metal to peel or flake away after striking on this 1943S steel cent. The lamination damage manifests as a peeling or flaking of the zinc coating or steel core, often exposing underlying layers or causing visible cracks or flakes on the coin's surface. Lamination errors are fascinating to collectors because they represent a glimpse into the production process and highlight the imperfections and challenges of minting coins, especially during an era when resources and quality controls were affected by wartime conditions. Such errors are relatively rare on 1943 steel cents due to the robust coating process, but can be extremely valuable when authenticated. The coin's circulated condition means it shows signs of wear consistent with everyday use, yet this does not detract from its collector value. Indeed, The error combined with the S mint mark and large date makes it a rare specimen. The lamination damage itself acts almost like a fingerprint, a unique feature that no two coins will share exactly, making it a prized item for error coin enthusiasts. The mintage of the 1943S steel cent large date is, as mentioned, about 16.5 million. While this may seem high, surviving examples with lamination damage in good condition are incredibly scarce. Most 1943 steel cents suffered corrosion, rust, or destruction, meaning that well-documented lamination error coins rarely surface at auction. From a design perspective, the coin retains the iconic Abraham Lincoln portrait by Victor David Brenner on the obverse, showcasing Lincoln's dignified profile, and the reverse features the wheat ears motif. The steel cent's grayish color and magnetic properties make it distinctive, and the lamination error adds a visible textural and visual dimension to this classic design. Collectors and investors prize this coin for several reasons. Firstly, the wartime steel composition gives it immense historical significance. Secondly, the S mint mark and large date variant increase rarity and desirability. Thirdly, lamination damage is a highly collectible error type that appeals to error coin collectors who often pay premiums for well-documented and visually striking mistakes. Fourthly, despite the coin's circulated status, the survival of such a specimen with clear lamination damage makes it a unique find. The value of this coin in today's auction market regularly surpasses $400,000, reflecting its combined rarity, historical importance, and error status. High-profile auctions and private sales often see bidding wars for these pieces, with provenance and authentication by third-party grading services further boosting value. Collectors looking to own a piece of World War II-era history and are rare. Minting anomaly often see this coin as the ultimate prize. This coin illustrates that in numismatics, rarity and uniqueness can outweigh condition. The lamination error on a 1943S steel cent large date is not merely a defect. It is a feature that tells a compelling story of minting challenges, wartime exigencies, and the passion of collectors to preserve such moments in metal. The next coin on our list is the United States Abraham Lincoln wheat steel 1 cent from 1943 without any mint mark, in proof uncirculated condition. To understand the immense value and collector interest of this coin, we need to first delve into its unique historical context. The year 1943 was a pivotal moment in American history. The country was fully engaged in World War II, and resources were being diverted to support the war effort. One such resource was copper, traditionally used in the production of pennies. Copper was essential for manufacturing military equipment, including ammunition and wiring, and the government quickly realized that continuing to mint pennies in copper would be wasteful. As a result, in 1943, the United States Mint made a groundbreaking decision to produce pennies made out of steel coated with zinc. This was a one-year-only experiment born of necessity. The steel penny was essentially a stopgap solution to conserve copper for the war. This makes the 1943 steel penny an iconic coin, symbolizing not only the economic conditions of wartime America, but also the resourcefulness of the mint and the nation. The design features of the 1943 steel cent are consistent with the classic Lincoln wheat penny design, which had been in use since 1909. The obverse side features the familiar profile portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. Surrounding Lincoln's bust is the inscription "In God We Trust" at the top, Liberty on the left side, and the date 1943 on the right. The reverse side of the coin carries the two sheaves of wheat that gave the coin its wheat penny nickname, along with the words 1 cent and United States of America and the motto E pluribus unum. These design features retain their historic significance, but what made the 1943 steel penny truly unique was its composition and finish. The coin we are focusing on today is a 1943 Lincoln steel penny without any mint mark, meaning it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. What makes this coin even more extraordinary is that it is a proof coin in uncirculated condition. Proof coins are specially made for collectors, struck with highly polished dies and plankets to produce a mirror-like finish and sharp details. Proof coins from this year are exceedingly rare because the 1943 steel pennies were mostly produced for circulation. Proof sets from 1943 containing steel pennies were made in very limited quantities, making them highly desirable among collectors. In terms of mintage, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 1 billion steel pennies for circulation, but the proof steel pennies made in 1943 number only a few thousand at most, with even fewer surviving in pristine, uncirculated condition today. This scarcity drives the coin's market value sky high. Collectors are willing to pay top dollar to own such a remarkable specimen, a piece of history minted under extraordinary circumstances and preserved in superb condition. Another key feature collectors look for in this coin is the absence of any mint mark. The Philadelphia Mint, the oldest and largest mint in the country, traditionally did not use a mint mark on pennies. But some collectors prize coins without mint marks simply because they represent the original source of U.S. coinage. The absence of mint marks also means that the coin escaped many of the handling and circulation where that coins from other mints might have suffered. A proof uncirculated 1943 steel penny without mint mark is a prized rarity that reflects the pristine quality of early strikes and minimal wear. Market interest in this coin has been tremendous. Over the past decades, proof 1943 steel pennies in uncirculated condition have become a holy grail for wheat penny enthusiasts and World War II memorabilia collectors alike. Auction results from top houses such as Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers have seen these coins fetch prices north of $400,000, depending on their grade and provenance. The coin's steel composition makes it more prone to corrosion and damage compared to copper cents, so a proof specimen with no wear, corrosion, or toning commands enormous respect and value. Furthermore, this coin stands as a reminder of the sacrifices and adjustments made during wartime America. Owning it means holding a piece of American history, a tangible connection to the era when the nation prioritized unity and strength above all. For collectors seeking both investment and historical significance, this coin represents the perfect blend.